I have a question for Rebecca. So you've seen the evolution of the company, and obviously, as the WatchMojo Lady, you've become a big part of the voice of the company. When did you really embrace that for the first time? At what point during your career did you feel like, okay, I'm the WatchMojo Lady, like this is my thing?
Still waiting. No, I'm not, believe it or not, I don't really have the ego for that. So I'm very reticent to accept that responsibility. I don't really even know how to verbalize this. I accept it, but I hope that I'm very humble about it.
Well, that's a very humble answer. Ash looks like he wants to chime in with something.
I mean, we're very Canadian, we need to have a disagreement and debate. But I will say, like, that is why I personally, because again, it's in our DNA, that is why I reached out to the Guinness Book World of Records. And I was like, there must be a category now for like most, voiceovers done on YouTube. I don't know how anybody could possibly beat Rebecca in that. No, it's great. But the fascinating thing about YouTube, and again, the nature of it is when Rebecca, I'm sure today, some people might be like, oh, face reveal, even though she's been on camera a lot. It's a fascinating platform. And yeah, I mean, again, like I recommended this idea. I don't know if we did it, where I was like top 10 iconic voices and like series voice. There's a few voices that have become kind of omnipresent. I wasn't sure if we would include Rebecca. We're a bit biased. That would be weird, but it would start off with like, welcome to Watch Mojo. Today we count down top 10 iconic voices.
I don't think we did that.
Well, you guys, because you never listened to me, you guys. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. No, but I'm like, to a generation that has grown up the way we grew up. Hello, thank you. Greetings and love back to India. This whole generation, the way like I was watching, I was watching Much Music, not MTV because we're Canadian, but the generation that grew up on the MTVs, the generation that grew up like, ESPN, NFL, like there's these iconic things that people attach. And I don't know if Rebecca feels it because from one's purview, our perspective is different. But yeah, like there are millions and millions, tens of millions of, we reach 100 million people a month. So billions of people. If you think about it, at least a billion, let's leave it at that have heard her voice. It's crazy when you think of the power of the internet. And sure, the power of entrepreneurship, the power of teamwork. It's just, everybody should be very proud. And that's actually why I stopped saying the whole, we're the unknown startup from Montreal, because it was like, it made sense for me to think like that. But I thought it was unfair to the team because the team's built this incredible business.
Yvonne has a cool clip teed up, so let's play that. If you don't mind, Yvonne.
No. I'm always watching the top 10 things. Always.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. Yeah. That's me. Hey.
Oh, no way.
Oh, no
you
way.
narrated it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Can you do the intro for us?
Right now.
Oh, really?
Please.
I've never done this in person. Welcome to Watch Mojo.
No way. Oh, my God.
This is so ridiculous.
I love your show.
How great was that moment?
That's so cool.
It was very good. You have to, okay, for context, most of my job is me under a blanket in a closet.
That sounds good. What is your job? What are we working on there? No, I'm kidding.
So anytime I'm out in the wild and someone acknowledges my job, it's very, very, how do you know that? Because it represents the power of the internet, like you were saying, Ash. But it's a smaller world than you think, I guess.
Has it happened that people have recognized you just by hearing your voice and been like,
not really, but my dad was always very big on telling people, hey, this is the WatchMojo Lady. And people would be very excited at that point. Or if they found out that I worked in media, they were like, wait, you sound familiar. That kind of thing. So, yeah. Sometimes they take a little prompting, but people, I have been recognized.
You know what's funny? People always ask me if I know the WatchMojo Lady. Especially, I remember I was on vacation a while ago, and I was on a cruise. I'm a big cruise guy, and they have one channel it was just WatchMojo looping. So I'm on vacation. I'm like, all right, no WatchMojo for a week, whatever. I'll, just kind of whatever. And then I turn on the channel. It's welcome to WatchMojo. And it's Rebecca. And I was like, oh, she's here. She's here on vacation. People on the boat, when they ask what I do, because you get into conversation with people in the hot tub or whatever, I'd be like, hey, have you been to channel 17? That's what I do, you know?
Hot
And then
tub
it's like,
under a blanket. What is this podcast? Okay, Yvonne, my good man, I sent you a link. If you could play that as I set it up. So that moment with Tom Holland, I think, was incredible for the team, because it did kind of validate. And I mean, again, we all like, validation is different. Like, the only reason I applied for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year is because not having an outside investor, it's not a red flag. Yeah, hold it, pause it for 1 second. People were like, is this company legit? So I was like, here, this company vetted us. Yes, it's an entrepreneur award. It's packaged individually. It's like, but an MVP of the team goes to a team that's crushing it, right? So I remember that being like a moment, like an inflection point where I could kind of shed one layer of insecurity. And so the Tom Holland, it was very meta in one sense, that it was a person, an actor we covered. That movie wasn't Spider-Man, but of a very iconic kind of IP that we kind of built the business around. So it was fantastic. But for me personally, preceding that was this. I was going to VidCon, which is like the the mecca of YouTube kind of creators. I was literally I had Wi-Fi, but we were landing at LAX as we were descending, and I knew that I would lose internet connection any minute. And somebody shared this video, if you want to play it.
My favorite channel finally did a video on me. I'm talking, of course, about WatchMojo. If you don't know WatchMojo, that's like you don't know Jesus. WatchMojo, the greatest top 10 channel of all time, with such classic titles as Top 10 Anime Chefs. If you think I've been out of ideas, WatchMojo is on a whole new level of out of ideas.
All right, I love that. So obviously he's roasting us, but I mean, that was the thing. Like, PewDiePie before Mr. Beast was the king of YouTube. That was a moment for me where, I mean, he's roasting us. You probably saw our videos. I'm sure we're not his favorite channel. I don't want people to miss it. But that was another meta moment, that like this guy who at the time probably had hit 100 million or was on the path to hit 100 million subscribers. And it was like, yeah, we're not this like thing in a vacuum, but it was a very Canadian story. As much as I always focus on the American market, and that's the biggest market, and it's a more fun, competitive market. You know, Canada's not it's like Canada's like a oligopoly, you know, it's like everything is smaller, controlled. It's very old school. For an entrepreneur, you want to go, it's like an athlete. You want to play in the biggest leagues. So when I saw that, that was for me a moment that I was like, okay, I'm like, and the symbolism of landing in LA to go to VidCon, that was like, that kind of hit me, that I'm like, okay, Ash, like, you know, it's a bit like when you get a certain job and you have to dress the part. I was like, okay, like we have kind of made it, so to speak. So yeah. And then obviously the Tom Holland one, which we use to this day. And many people mention when they find out that I work at WatchMojo, let alone start it. So
big moments for sure. Mike, I want to flip it over to you. How has the channel evolved in your eyes? Because I know you've been doing channel management for a long time, but you've done other positions, and you know how the operations work very well. So what's the evolution been like for you?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. I mean, because when we started, like I said, there were like 3 of us writing scripts. There's like Rebecca, myself, and Stephanie. And at one point, a few years into it, we were growing. We were growing so fast that it didn't make sense for just like 3 people to like write all the scripts. So then we rejigged, and I took over at some point managing the writers. So I did that for a few years. In between. So I had to build a writing team of dozens of writers from around the world who knew their topics, knew our style, and could help us evolve. And then we had to scale everything else, right? You have to scale the editors. You have to, you know, the same thing happens on all the sides. You got to make sure that there's more people to do voiceover. There's more people to do editing. And so that's scaled. So as we're scaling, then the challenge is also the topics, because you don't want to just do top 10 chefs. You want to, you know, and you want to keep it interesting, and you got to evolve the topics so that we're growing, we're maturing. We're not just, because it started off, I remember it started off with like top 10 movie vampires, top 10 movie, whatever. because we haven't done top 10s yet, right? But as we grew, the topics have to become way more interesting and compelling and interesting for us also as writers, you know, can't just be like surface level. So I'd say that happened. And then channel management, it's, you know, the same thing. We like so I just noticing the comments, you have a lot of amazing comments here in this video with ideas, and so many, our audience is passionate. They're giving us ideas all the time and we take it on board. We don't just ignore them. We write them down. I pencil them in. We discuss them. What can we do with this? Is it something that we should do? And can we do it justice, right? So it's a lot of scaling, but making sure that in the translation, nothing's lost, right? We don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it. You know, we want to do it right. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's
I just want to riff on that. And that was one reason also when I say like, oh, I got turned down by 100 VCs. It's because a lot of the VCs did not want to invest in content, but those that were open to it, they did want to scale. They didn't want like today they would be like AI, like, you know, I don't want to be crude. They would have a hard on about AI, like you're going to replace everybody. And I was like, it doesn't work like that, you know? So yeah, like we're always careful that like the content has to be good. The videos have to be good. It's not like, why are you smiling, Rob?
Oh, because I saw Phoebe who just left a comment. I love WatchMojo. Hi, Phoebe, from all of us.
Hey,
Yeah, so I think it's always been that balance. And one reason, again, a lot of people are like 20 years. How does that even make sense? And I'm like, balance, you know, the success is not just like numbers and quantity. And it's like, again, now also if you're super artsy and you're like, we did one video after like 8 years, that doesn't work either. But we're always very careful. And I didn't mind it. Because these were people on the outside. But when commenters would be like, oh, you guys just care about this or that, I was like, you have no idea how much the team works on everything. You know, it's like a restaurant. Okay, if you serve 100 plates or actually like 500 plates, I assure you they do care that every plate is perfect. But yeah, there's going to be one where maybe this is not perfect or there's a mistake. But that's really explains the success as well. Because YouTube, yeah, online you could say there's slop, there's crap, this and that. But the web now exposes the phonies. It rewards authenticity, you know, but ultimately you need balance, right? So yeah, it's funny when I hear these stories because I go, wow, we're always very deliberate and cared about balance and quality and quantity, frequency and consistency, et cetera, et cetera.